institutions of SVV, faculty members, staff, and dear students. We are very fortunate to have that inspiration with us who gave a new dimension to research and applying his vision in the form of guiding to organize this academic forum. May I now invite Dr. Upinder Dhar, Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, for his opening remarks.
We had started Udhbhavana a few years back to have a platform where all of us can meet once in 15 days or 3 weeks and brainstorm on a topic of common interest. So faculty members of different disciplines are invited to make a presentation to precipitate new thoughts, to facilitate the participants to think of possibilities for research and also understanding the area in which presentation is made. So today we have a very interesting area that is on stress management, and that too is being presented by a person with background in psychology. So this is being done by a member of our Department of Social Sciences, specifically psychology. So we are really much hopeful that everybody will be benefited by this session, and questions can be raised at the end of the session for better understanding. As I have always been saying, that it is simply not delivering a lecture and then listening to the lecture and it ends. Purpose of Udhbhavana is to precipitate thinking for doing some research, particularly in interdisciplinary areas, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and that is what is required now. So therefore, we should look at these presentations from that point of view. So I welcome all of you to Udhbhavana of this month, and I'm sure that all of you will find it interesting and at the same time start thinking about how we can utilize these concepts in our research. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So before we begin, let me provide a little introduction to Dr. Nasreen Ansari ma'am. She is Assistant Professor at Sri Vaishnav Institute of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts. She's working in Psychology Department for the past 3 years. She is a doctorate from prestigious Aligarh Muslim University and established Central University of India. In the past, she has worked with renowned names of academic world like IEHE, Bhopal, Makanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication. She also holds experience in working as a project officer on specific learning disability project. In a career of spanning for more than a decade, she has attended many international and national workshops, seminars and conferences, and published many articles and research papers. Her area of interest is job motivation, work values, organizational health, and stress management. She believes that the ways we make sense of who we are at the end and how we got here helps to shape the societies we are striving to build. Working on the same philosophy, she is committed to the role of an ardent student of life and wants to disseminate her learnings among all. So with that, I welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Aditi ma'am. Honorable Vice Chancellor, HOI, HODs, and dear colleagues, a very good evening to all of you. As you all know, today I am here to present myself for managing stress at workplace. So before moving towards my presentation, I would like to thank especially our Honorable Vice Chancellor and all the committee members of Udhbhavana for providing me such a wonderful opportunity to present myself from this platform. So I am starting from my presentation with this hope. It will be it will make you to think something or will be benefited for you all. And it will be, yeah, we can say, I can say that I will feel happy if some questions will be asked. It may be interactive, then it will be more fruitful if the questions will be asked. So I'm starting with my presentation. Okay, my PPTs are visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, as the topic is managing stress at workplace. So whenever we say that we are going to talk on stress, and the general response come from the people that we all know about stress, what is new in this, and what is will be the benefit by knowing about it. Yes, stress is not a new concept, because only it becomes new when we face or experience various type of stresses. We will talk about stress time and again. We have to talk about stress because we cannot eliminate stress from our life. Why we cannot eliminate stress from our life? We are saying we are feeling stress for what to do. It is ruining our performance. And then also we are saying that we cannot eliminate stress from our life, because stress is not only responsible for the negative outcomes, it is also responsible for the positive outcomes too. It depends on the types of stress. So we always talk about the stress with attachment of the managing of it, to know the ways to make it balance. If it will be eliminated, we will not be ready to perform anything. We all know that stress is responsible for the ruining our performance. If it increases from the certain or moderate level, it also creates a lot of problem when it decreases from the moderate level. We become lethargic, we don't feel pressurized, so we don't ready to do anything. So stress should always be at the moderate level. So we will try to know the basic nature of stress. There are many people, all of us are all of us are aware about the stress, but there are certain things like positive stress, negative stress, maybe people are not aware about it. If we are very much aware about it, so it becomes easy for us to make a balance of our whatever stress we are experiencing. So firstly, we'll try to understand what is, as a concept, how we understand stress. It is a very highly discussed topic or concept in psychology. Both positive as well as negative implications are attached to it. As I am earlier said, that if it increases from the moderate level, responsible for the negative outcomes. It is, if it decreases from the moderate level, again it is responsible for the negative outcomes. Balancing of these stress is very much important, whether we are experiencing stress in our personal life or we are experiencing stress at workplace or our professional life. Only the nature of stressor will be changed. The intensity of the stress will be the same. The experience or emotional reactions or physical reaction, which will be showed by the individual who is experienced or is experiencing stress, it will be deteriorating of the responsible for the deterioration of mental as well as physical health. So stress is not only responsible for negative outcome, it may be positive as an opportunity or negative in context of new demands and commitments. We are not able to match the deadlines at workplace. We are not able to complete our work, or we are not able to scheduling our task properly. Obviously it will be responsible for the increasing the stress in us. So or if we are able to complete our task, we are able to prioritize our work, we can schedule our work properly, definitely it will be responsible for the high level of work efficiency. So stress is something that not only we are experiencing, it makes us also able to adjust with the environmental demands, like stress pressurize people to that extent that he or she adjusts, or he has to adjust to existing circumstances. That much influential thing is that stress, we have to adjust. It means it is also responsible for our mental or physical growth. Our development and growth is also responsible when we face stress. If we are not facing any kind of stress, we will not ready to perform anything. We will not adjust with the situation. We will not be aware about our surroundings. Means as a worker, we will not be a very productive worker. If we are experiencing it at the highest level, then also we will not be considered as a productive worker. So for the higher productivity of the organization, one must know to make balance of the stressor. It depends up to us. We can take help of others. We can take help to make balance. If we are not able, we are not capable enough to make balance of workplace stress, we can take help from our colleagues, we can take help from our superiors, we can also take help from our juniors. It depends on our ways we are taking to make the balance of the stress. As far as the types of stresses, I'm saying that stress is not a new concept. How it becomes different or uniqueness of stress or experience, different experiences of stress come in front of us, it depends on the type of stressor. If we are at workplace, the nature of stressor will be different. If we are facing stress at our personal life, the nature of stressors will be different. So as far as the types of stressors are there, which are responsible for making us stressed, these are the first, these are categorized into number of ways: organic, environmental, personality related. So firstly, we are having organic or chemical stresses. These are the nutritional and related factors, genetic factors like metabolic allergies, etc. Physical fitness and level of resistance, how we respond to the when a stressor come in front of us. So these are related to our physical health, our level of nutrition, what type of diet we are taking, some stress, anxiety, tensions. When we talk about all type of psychological factors, many of them are inherited. So likewise, genetic factors, we in organic type of stressors, we also have this. Next type of stressor is categorized under the category of personality related stress. The sub factors of this particular aspect is locus of control, interpersonal trust, like personality type, emotional maturity, and competence. It depends on the personality of the individual, what type of nature we are having. For many things, are we giving what type of nature we are having, like others blaming or self blaming? Both the things are not good. More and more others blaming will also play a negative role. More or more self blaming will also play a negative role. Again, we will not be able to manage the things. We will not be able to complete the demands of the environment. Again, we will experience stress. Personality type, how much submissive, outgoing we are, introvert, extrovert personality we are having, emotional maturity and competence. And we are we able to make balance of our emotions? You know, there are various things which are very much negative in nature. Then also we have that type of personality hardiness, so we are able to make balance of our emotions. There are certain things at workplace which makes it that much stress at the extent of the crying, at the extent of the becoming aggressive. Are we able to make balance in it? It depends on the personality of the individual. So for what type of things we are blaming others or blaming ourselves, or emotionally intelligent, or what type of interpersonal trust we are having. Trust is the very much important thing. There are many people who are not trusting themselves alone. So it is very difficult for the people to trust others. If we are not trusting to our co-worker, automatically we are working as a team. If we are not trusting to our co-worker, definitely we'll experience stress at the workplace. So it depends on the nature of the worker or employee. To if they want to make balance or balanced as far as the stress is concerned, they think about themselves. These are the certain factors which are related to personal, or we can say that personal stressor or life event like marriage, new job transfer, change of occupation, retirement, and illnesses. Marriage, a new beginning of the life, full of different mixed emotions. It becomes a stressor for someone. New job, new demands, again becomes a stressor for someone. Transfer, not everyone enjoy to be transferred from one place to other place, becomes a stressor for oneself. Change of occupation, taking shift is a very difficult task. Many people take it a very difficult one, so it becomes a problem. Retirement, again, some people take it as a happy mode, or some are not taking it as a happy mode, so again becomes a problematic. Some people think after retirement they will complete their work which they were not able when they were working, and most of the people feel anxious before retirement. So it becomes a great stressor for the person who is going at the merge of the retirement. Illness, whether we are any type of illness like physical pain, mental pain, as far as the physical pain is there, headaches, other respiratory problems, any illness, and it is at the initial level, then it interfere in our performance, so becomes a stressors for us. And as far as the chronic illnesses are there, sometimes if it is not treated or not treated properly, becomes a very much problematic for the person or qualify the category of stress disorders. Moving towards the other stressors, like stressors related to family, are the familial stresses. These are the certain factors here, stresses like relations among family members, marital adjustment, economic problems, major familial catastrophes like death, accident, familial events like marriage, divorce, admission of children, search for employment by young people. So these are the stressors which a person experiences within living in the family, whether it is if some economic problems arises in the family, will be a stressor for every member of the family. Relations, what type of relations the family members are having. If they are having conducive or harmonious relationship, obviously the smooth running of the family activities will be there. If some grudges or other type of problem will be there, become a stressor for the family members. Other like family, marriage, divorce, admission of children is a very great problem. Admission of a children becomes a very great stressor for the parents. Search for employment by young people, again a problem for the, many youngsters are having a good degree, but they are not able to achieve the desired, or job, or we can say the desired job. So again becomes a stressor for the person. These are the certain stressor at the social context, considered as a social stressors like tension, discriminations, group conflicts, growing unemployment, scarcity and poverty, aggression and violence. Whatever is occurring in the society in the form of group tensions, in the form of discrimination at any aspect, discrimination on the basis of gender, discrimination on the basis of religion, on the basis of race, on the basis of gender, we are facing. Group conflicts, when we are talking about social stressors, we are talking about communities, groups, and communities, various types of conflicts we are having by different reasons. Growing unemployment, the rate of unemployment in the society is increasing. It becomes a great stressor for the members of the society. Scarcity, any type of scarcity and poverty becomes a great stressor or social stressor we are experiencing being a member. Those who are facing this type of stresses experience a lot of problem. Aggression and violence. Aggression in the form of terrorism and other types, violence in the form of terrorism is also considered as a social stressor. So these are the certain social stressors. At what extent or intensity we are experiencing or facing it, responsible for the proper functioning of the behavior or performance of the members of the society. These are the certain environmental stressors which are related to environment, like temperature, air pollution, or environmental pollutions like air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution are responsible for ruining the performance of the individual. And lack of space to walk around, lack of open spaces, yeah, overcrowding, yeah, crowding is there, becomes a lot of problematic for us. Residential environment, and what type of environment we are having, where we are residing, becomes a stressor or de-stressor for us. Travel is also a environmental, considered in the category of environmental stressor. So from temperature to traveling, all are the stressors which are related to environment. So any type of scarcity or crowding we are facing, or we are supposed to live in that type of space where 2 to 3 people are only accommodated, and at that place we are accommodating 8 to 10 people, automatically it will be a stressor for us. So these are the environmental stresses. So moving towards the types of stress, those were the stressors which are responsible for the stress. So we must also know types of stress so that we may make balance, or to know, we must be aware, yes, this stressor is good and this stressor is not good. So it will be easy for us, okay, what intensity of these stressors should be there. It is based on the broad biopsychosocial concept of stress and adaptation, which was put forward by Hans Selye in 1950s. Most of the Hans Selye was the father of stress studies. So he proposed certain things on the basis of biopsychosocial model. So the first type of stress is eustress, the second type of distress, which is further divided into 2 types. And we have other types of hypostress, and it is further, we can say, categorized like that, hypo or hyper and hypostress. So as we are saying that some good, some bad. Yes, stress is good as well as bad as well as good. Why it is considered as good? Because it provides us energy when we are in need. So even as far as the eustress is considered, it is one of the helpful type of stress. Whenever our body requires immediate energy, eustress is that type of stress which provides us immediate energy to perform the task, to complete the task. The word you refers the good. So you means good. So it is only one stress which comes under the category of good because it is helpful. We feel that in that at that extent stress, anxious, we become anxious, pressurized, we feel pressure, anxious, tensed, at only that extent which make us to perform our task in a proper manner. So eustress is that type of stress. It provides energy to perform a task. When we go to the exam hall, we feel stressed. That is you stressed. We complete our work, but we feel stressed. Our heartbeat is high. We are in speed. Sweating can be done. So, but we complete our work. We complete our whatever performance we are going to do or we are going to perform. We become bit stressed. This is a natural human tendency, or this anxiousness, pressure, tension, anxiety makes us able to perform our or to give our best performance. So eustress is that type of stress. The next is distress, a totally negative type of stress, which arises when the normal routine constantly changes, adjusted and altered. So consistently we are having changes in our daily routine life, or we are not able to adjust. Obviously we will not be able, time and again our we can say that things are changing, so we will not be able to make ourselves adjust in that particular situation. So distress is a totally negative type of stress, or it is further divided into two categories, like acute stress and chronic stress. Acute, as the name refers, that acute arises due to the immediate change in routine and passes quickly. A higher level of stress, hyper stressed जब हम हो जाते हैं, then acute stress we are experiencing, और ये immediate, it occurs due to the immediate change in routine. The sudden change we face, we become stressed. Chronic stress arises due to constant changes in routine and stays for a long time. Acute stress, the intensity of acute stress arises quickly, but it passes, or then also it passes quickly. We become hyper stressed, but become much more stressed, or experienced higher level stress when we are when the immediate changes are in front of us. Chronic is the constant change, the changes taking place at the long time, and we then we experience chronic stress, and it remains long time. It may be responsible for the various type of chronic diseases and disorders. Hyper stress, one of the negative type of stress, that is hyper stress, excess of stress. That we are seeing that acute stress. In general term, maybe we call it as hyper stress, which arises due to non-adjustment in new situation. It leads to serious emotional and physical problems. We are not able to make balance. We can give the fight response to the situation, whatever the demand the environment is approaching us to complete. So we are not able to make balance with it. The intensity suddenly arises, or at that arousal point, we are capable, even we all are capable enough, but due to the intensity, higher intensity of the arousal of hyper stress, we are not able to make balance. So it is responsible or leads to serious emotional and physical problems. Emotional, we can be more aggressive, we can shout, we can the emotional reaction can be in the form of crying. And as far as the physical problems are there, we can have headaches, stomach ache, any type of physical pain we can experience if the level of hyper stress we are experiencing. And opposite of the hyper stress is hypo stress, and it is an insufficient amount of stress. It is basically experienced by the person who is constantly bored. There are many people, not only in our personal life, in our workplace, we are also having a variety of people. There are many people, they make them hyper stressed. They think that they are responsible for each and everything. And there are some people, they don't take very load about the others thing. They don't take load about for their assigned task that much. So why they will take the responsibility to others? But But the hypo-stress is the lack of stress, negative stress responsible for the deterioration of the performance of the individual, why people are constantly bored, or it experienced by the person who are doing same nature of task for a long time, then they experience hypo stress. So like factory workers, laborers experience this type of stress. So in organizational setting, there are various type of concept to motivate the person, like job enlargement, job enrichment. If someone is experiencing job erosion, so with the help of these type of job enlargement, job rotation, and these type of motivational techniques used by the organization to make the person to be more and more productive. These are effects of stress on physical and mental health are concerned. We time and again we are saying, when stress becomes overwhelming and prolonged, the risk for mental health problems and physical medical problems increases, like sleep problems, pain, bodily complaints, depression, substance use problems, muscle tensions are there. And so whenever a person experiences stress, many a times it is reported by the person that he or she is having muscle tensions, headaches, as far as the physical symptoms are there. Anxiety, depression, and substance use problems are also there. These are the certain, as far as the effect of stress on physical health is there, the physiological consequences lead to diseases like pain of any kind, or any part of the body may be aching or paining. Heart diseases, digestive problems are also taking place due to the increasing level of stress, and immune related diseases and infectious diseases are also experienced by the person as far as the stress is concerned. The immunity system is becoming weak if we are experiencing stress at the longer time. We are prone to, we become susceptible to the illnesses. So that is why any type of infection is arising or coming or approaching us, we become very much sensitive to approach it. We also suffer from stress disorder due to the negative effect of stress. And the stress disorder or diseases may be categorized into the following categories. Like gastrointestinal diseases or disorders are there, peptic ulcer, gastric, duodenal, and colonic types problems, cardiovascular diseases like essential hypertension, heart failure. We all know that. Stress, don't take stress. It is not good for our heart. So cardiovascular diseases are there. Respiratory diseases or disorders like bronchial asthma, hyperventilation, various type of respiratory diseases are experienced by the person. Urogenital diseases or disorders like urinary infections, impotence is also responsible. Also a problem which is due to the stress. Dermatological disorders, various skin problems are also there when we experience stress, eczema, neurodermatitis. Okay. Endocrine disorders like hypo and hyperthyroidism, diabetes, these are the due to the stress. Exocrine disorders like acne, cotton mouth, profuse sweating. We all know when we become anxious, our exocrine system, the dysfunctioning of the endocrine and exocrine system becomes slow or negative, like cotton mouth, drying of mouth, like excess of sweating is there. And the next is neurological disorders like impairments in taste, vision, smell, and tongue movement. All are very much negatively approached by the stress. As far as the effect of stress on mental health is there, so psychological consequences leads to problem and disorders like tension, pressure, and anxiety disorder. Very simple layman also can enlist these problems which are taking place due to the stress. Like problem related to eating, not only the problem related to eating, if we are experiencing stress, prolonged stress, it becomes sometimes responsible for the eating disorders. Sleep disturbances is a common sign and symptoms or reported by the person who is experiencing stress. Sleep, it is experienced by the person at a longer time. It becomes problematic at that extent. Not only the sleep disturbance, it is responsible for the sleep disorders also. Use of substance and substance use disorders are also responsible for the reason of the stress. Like eating disorders like anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, binge eating hai. Sometimes we go for the more and more eating, and sometimes due to the becoming anxious for any reason, the loss of appetite is there. And bulimia, when frequent episode of out of control eating was there. Yes, people reported these type of things. These are the in extreme cases the disorders take place, but disorders are also taking place if we are experiencing stress more and more in our life. In sleep disorders, these are the certain disorders: somnambulism, that is sleepwalk, sleep apnea, narcolepsy, insomnia, hypersomnia. A layperson can also enlist that insomnia and hypersomnia due to the experiencing stress. And at sleep apnea, the person stops his or her breathing while sleeping. Narcolepsy, the person experiencing long stress, the reason can be narcolepsy is the sleeping attacks are anywhere. So it is that much dangerous or detrimental for our health. Finally, substance use disorders, like it is categorized into two categories: substance abuse and substance dependence. That is abuse, substance abuse is excess use of substance like drugs, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, and substance dependence is generally the craving for the drugs. Only the reaction or action of the individual is different. In both the cases, he's taking or intake of any substance is there, but in this case, craving, the person is not having the control over himself or herself. He just want any drug immediately. Or in substance abuse, excess, more and more drugs is used by the individual. This type of person becomes very, very detrimental for the society. Finally, the contextual topic, we'll talk on our contextual topic. So whether we are experiencing stress in our personal life or professional life, I'm saying the location is only changed. The nature of stressor is changed, but the intensity, the pain of the stress, the anxiety, pressure is that much. Finally, it is responsible for the poor performance of the employees at the workplace. So as far as the managing stress at workplace or managing common stressful situation at workplace, so workplace is nothing, it's a location where we work for our employment, or it is a place of employment. Such a place can range from a home office or a large office building or factory. Any location can be where we are employed or we are working. So workplace where we spend more 1/3 of our life. So we must try to make ourselves de-stressed. If we will be stressed, in our professional life also, in our professional life, automatically it will be responsible for ruining our personal life. If we are focused on the workplace stress management, so that is why we are not talking about the personal level, personal life problems here, but it's vice versa. Whether it is personal or professional, it will be responsible for the poor performance of the employees. So if the employee is happy and content at work, it will reflect in his overall personality and growth as a human being. The collective impact of good work environment is much more than increased productivity and employee satisfaction. So if we feel stressed by a certain problem at work, we might not be alone in this. So whenever we feel stressed, the first step should be that we are not alone in this. Many of us are having the same problem. When we think that we are alone, it creates a lot of problems. These are the certain problems, or managing problem with workload can be like we can take help from our managers, seniors, try to balance time, reward ourselves for achievements, and be realistic. So for making our de-stress at workplace, we can take help from our seniors. We must try to time management must be there, or the two more important things is there. If we are completing our work, we should reward ourselves. And the reward can be in any form. We can go for a movie, we can take a good meal, or we can interact with our colleagues, and be realistic. We must be logical. Whatever is going in place, we might find that we are being more critical of our own work than we need to be. We cannot be perfect all the time. So don't run towards the perfection. So yes, sometimes we can make mistakes. So we must do that particular thing. Difficult work-life balance is also responsible for the workplace stress. So we must give ourselves short breaks, take some time off, focus on our life outside work, and develop end of day habits. And some good habits must be there so that we can make balance. Lack of support at workplace becomes a very, very great stressor at workplace. So we must find out services in workplace, tell someone that we are feeling unsupported, develop good relationship with colleagues. Stress management, but it is a well-established fact that if God has given the problem, there is a solution to. So there are management strategies which may support stressed people in current world. A social support and healthy interpersonal relationship is the first and most thing which is very much responsible to de-stressing us. So these are the how we can manage stress. Modifying environment, like be assertive, withdraw if necessary, compromise when appropriate. Being spiritual, we can also manage stress, not only in personal life, in professional life also. Things we must think, we should repeated statement like that: I am positive, I am hopeful, I am happy, I am truthful, I am love, I am compassionate, I am forgiving, satisfied, and I am meaningful. We can, after altering our lifestyle, like building greater stress tolerance, change pace of life, problem solving things, seek social support, makes us de-stressed at workplace. These are the certain coping strategies. By using them, practicing them, we can make ourselves de-stress as far as the workplace or any place stress is concerned. That is task oriented, emotion oriented, and avoidance oriented strategies. Like task, this is a fact. We become very much stressed when we do the queuing of work. We line up the task, and when we see the huge number of tasks incomplete tasks in front of us, obviously we will become stressed. So we must try, by using task oriented strategy, we may learn that to prioritize our work. This is up to us, that whether we will complete difficult tasks first or easiest task first, but don't line up all the tasks. You will definitely feel stressed. Emotion-oriented strategies. We at daily basis, we experience mixed type of stress at workplace also, some negative, some positive. So those emotions which are creating negativity for us will be responsible for the deterioration of the performance at workplace. So we must try to convert our negative emotion into positive one. And avoidance oriented strategy, we are saying withdraw if necessary. So we must try certain things to avoid as far as the proper adjustment of the life is there, work is there. So in the end, it can be said that we cannot eliminate stress from our life. We can only know the ways to make the level of stress balance with the help of various stress management strategies or coping strategies. Or we are not supposed to eliminate the stress. We only learn the ways to make it balanced. Okay, thank you so much. So let's start with the stress-free life by managing stress at workplace. Then from my side, I'll feel happy. If you are having any question, we'll try to give satisfactory answer. If you are having any question, so you can ask.
Thank you, ma'am. So if any audience have any question to ask?
You talked about stress, you talked about anxiety.
Yes, sir.
How do you differentiate?
Sir, we can say that anxiety, even stress is also good. Anxiety is also a permanent characteristics of one personality, one's personality. That is, if it is trait anxiety or state anxiety, it is divided into category. As per my knowledge, I can say that stress is a complete package in which some amount of anxiety is there, some amount of stress is there, some amount of pressure is there. So it is a complete package, stress. We become anxious when we are stressed, or sometimes it looks vice versa. In anxiety, we also feel pressure. In stress, we feel anxious. There are certain concepts which is quite difficult to make difference in them.
The question is for a layman, how do you differentiate between anxiety and stress?
So, anxiety, in anxiety, with the help of sign and symptoms, we identify. In stress, we also identify with the help of sign and symptoms. But due to stress, we are having a number types of stresses. For stress is also responsible for the positive outcomes. Or we always make balance with the stress.
Difference क्या कैसे layman कैसे समझेगा? What is the difference between anxiety and stress?
Sir, stress is a complete package.
Package क्या कोई marketing?
Package. So we are talking about stress at workplace. So we can use terminology like that. Complete package in this sense, as I said that when we become stressed, some amount of anxiety, tension, pressure, tension is there.
No, the difference is that anxiety is always the state of apprehension. That means when
Yes,
something
sir. Yes, sir.
When something is yet to happen.
Yes, sir.
So you are just apprehending.
Yes.
That state of apprehension is the state of anxiety. For example, husband roaming around in the corridor when wife is in the labor room.
Oh,
Or
yes,
you
yes.
mentioned about examination anxiety. So when question paper is yet to be seen by the student, he is experiencing or she is experiencing the state of anxiety. So anxiety is always the state of apprehension. That means when something is yet to happen. But one is making assumption and responding or reacting to those assumptions. If a person returns home normally between 6 and 7 o'clock in the evening, but one day he has not returned home by 11 or 12 o'clock, then you start apprehending. Lest this should have happened, lest that should have happened, lest he must have met the accident or anything like that. So when we are in this state of apprehension, while we do not know actually what has happened, that is the state of anxiety. Therefore, anxiety is always the state of apprehension. That means before something is actually
going to happen.
Actually has happened before that, you do not know. This is anxiety. Whereas stress is always concurrent to a event or activity or experience. It is concurrent.
Oh.
Stress is never apprehended. It is never beforehand.
Okay, it
Let's
is
come back
running
to this.
parallelly.
Where stress happens simultaneously. That means, say, for example, when a person is making presentation in the board or presentation before the panel, while he or she is making the presentation, that time he is experiencing stress. Or when a batsman is facing the bowler on the ground, when he is actually facing the bowler, that time he is experiencing stress because it is concurrent. So the basic difference between anxiety and stress
And stress.
is that
Okay.
anxiety is the state of apprehension. That means beforehand, before one actually knows what has happened. Whereas
Yes.
stress is the concurrent state. When is dealing with something, you are experiencing stress. When a newly one who has recently learned driving, when he is driving on the highway, that time he is experiencing stress because that is concurrent. Then there is third state, which follows an event, which happens after something has happened. That is the state of depression. So anything that is in the state of apprehension, that is beforehand, that is anxiety. Anything, the experience that is concurrent, that is stress, whereas that follows something which has happened, that is depression. For example,
Okay.
result of the examination has been declared and a person has failed. What will follow is depressive state, not anxiety, depressive state.
Yes.
Similarly, when one is expecting some success in some examination or success in maybe interview, and the outcome is the other way around, then he experiences the state of depression. So these three states we need to remember. Anxiety is always beforehand. It's always the state of
Beforehand, stress is concurrent.
always, not mostly, always.
Yes.
Similarly, stress is always concurrent. When something
Yes.
is being experienced, that time itself the experience that one is encountering is stress. Whereas depressive state always is a consequence. It follows something that has not happened as per one's desire. This
Yes.
distinction you must always remember.
Yes.
Between anxiety, stress,
Yes, and depression.
and they may go together. They may go together.
Yes.
That means when one is waiting for making a presentation before before a panel, he at that time or she that at that time before making the presentation will be experiencing anxiety, not stress, anxiety, because he has yet to make the presentation, yet to face the panel. But then what will happen? Whether I can make the presentation properly or not, whether I will be satisfactory or not, whether panelists will appreciate my presentation or not, one asks these questions and then reacts to them, not responds, reacts to those questions.
Yes.
That is why that state is anxiety state. Whereas when one is in and making the presentation, while making the presentation, that is stress.
Yes.
But then while he is experiencing stress about while making the presentation, he may experience a state of anxiety about what question will come. So what question will be asked by a particular person? If I am not able to respond, what will happen? Say if it is there are marks, or my career depends on this kind of presentation. So they may go together.
Together.
Anxiety, stress, depression, they may go together. But then at the same time, there is a distinction. They are not
Yes,
interchangeable.
definitely.
They are not
Definitely, sir. Okay.
They are not
Yes.
interchangeable. That means anxiety is not stress, depression is not.
Depression is not stress.
These are three different states of mind. That is why when it comes to when there is an acute case, which is not in the normal state, the treatment is different.
Yes.
In the case of anxiety neurosis, treatment is different in comparison to, say, somebody is under the state of distress. Treatment is different. So therefore, conceptually, the three states are different. But then question is asked, can they be experienced at the same time? Yes, possible.
Yes, we can experience them in combination. Thank you, sir.
So there can be a continuity in the pain or painful experience before,
Yes, sir.
current, and after. But then the states are different. Symptoms are different. The symptoms of anxiety is different
Different.
from the symptoms of stress or depression. In the case of anxiety, one is restless. One may not be able to sit at one place. One keeps on roaming around. I gave you an example of a
Yes.
husband roaming here and there in the corridors of the hospital where his wife is admitted in the labor room. So that is anxiety state. He doesn't know what is happening inside the labor room. So this is anxiety state. So one feels restless. Then in the anxiety state, there is the face may become pale. That means blood circulation goes more to the visceral organ part than to the peripheral part and the face even. So there may be tremor, heart healing. That happens in anxiety state.
Yes.
Whereas and then there is perspiration in the state of anxiety. One may perspire. One may not feel hungry at all.
Loss of appetite will be there.
It may happen in the case of anxiety.
Frequent urination,
So there,
excess sweating.
depending upon the habits and tendency of an individual. So
Yes.
there, some people go again and again to the washroom. Some people may not. Some people have different kind of tendency.
Yes, it depends on
Whereas
individual differences are there.
Whereas in the state of stress, symptoms are slightly different. Their face does not become pale at all.
Yes.
Face may become reddish. Stress में reddish होगा, लाल हो जाएगा, घबराहट के कारण, पता नहीं क्या पूछेंगे, अरे, am I going on the right track? Whereas anxiety में pale होगा,
yes,
but stress में reddish हो जाएगा. One may perspire. One may skip certain things. सामने कोई चीज पड़ी लेकिन उसको दिख ही नहीं रही. It happens in stress. That means, say, for example, if he wants to use the pointer for PPT, तो PPT का pointer सामने पड़ा, उसको दिख ही नहीं रहा है, इधर-उधर हाथ पैर मार. That happens in the case of stress. Whereas in the case of depression, the major symptom is withdrawal. One wants to be away. One doesn't want to be with others. One wants to be aloof. That state of loneliness that happens in the case of depression, neither in anxiety nor
social alienation. Yes, sir.
Neither in anxiety nor in stress, but in the case of depressive state, one feels depressed. In the other words, one wants to be away. One wants silence. And then somebody is in the state of depression, may look for silence. Chup karo. मेरे को शांति से बैठने दो. That is an outcome of the depressive state. Or one may go away. ऐसा लगे कि life is useless, बेकार है सब वो है, क्या बोलते हैं उसको ना, मिथ्या है. These are the symptoms of depression. So the point is, all the three are different.
Yes, sir.
But they may be experienced together.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes. Is there any question?
Any other question?
There should be questions because all these are experiences which are very common.
I have just a question.
Yes, sir.
Since you present that stress is unavoidable for everyone, right? So where does it originate? Is it part of the subconscious that stress is unavoidable?
No, we cannot
really
say
train
that.
oneself how to deal with stress, right?
Yes, I said that we cannot eliminate stress from our life, because stress is something which is also responsible for the positive outcome. If it will be eliminated, the level of stress should be managed by the individual who is experiencing it. If it will be eliminated, then we will not be able to perform anything. That is the thing. Elimination. The word is elimination. We should avoid those stresses, those situations, circumstances, conditions, those things, those thoughts which are making us stress. So that is my point.
I think the point that she wants to make is that stress on one hand should not cross a particular limit, because when it crosses a particular optimum limit, then it becomes distress. It gets converted into distress, which is detrimental. Whereas at the same time, one cannot make it zero. So practically the zero state of stress is not possible, because body and the human being always responds and reacts to the environment. And stress is a psychophysiological reaction.
Yes.
Stress is a psychophysiological reaction, whereas anxiety is purely psychological state, because in anxiety we make assumptions and then react to them. Whereas in stress, we are not necessarily making assumptions. There are certain stressors here and now, and body as a human being, that we psychophysiologically will react to it. So therefore, the ideal state is that the stress should be in the optimum range. Experimentally, it has been seen when stress is below the range, then people become they prefer to sit at one place,
lethargy,
state of not doing anything. Why to do it? Hota rahega, ho jayega. Why should I get up? So, in other words, when stress is below optimum range, then one becomes inactive. So it is not good. On the other hand, when it crosses the optimum level, if it is higher than the optimum level, it gets converted into distress, which is also detrimental. Therefore, one has to ensure that one stays within the optimum range. So one cannot afford to go for zero stress. That can't happen. So that if that happens at all, that becomes the state of hypostress. So one doesn't bother. Theek hai, jo ho raha hai, I avoid to make an effort. If I have to take a glass of water, one would wait for someone to come and offer the glass of water, not get up and take the water. So therefore, experimentally, it has been repeatedly proved that optimum range, optimum state of stress is necessary for a happy and healthy life. Perhaps this is what she wanted to say.
Do you put all the normal activities as an optimal stress then? Normal reactions to circumstances?
It has to be within normal, within optimum range, and that is not detrimental. That is not detrimental. Normal, within optimum, if the stress level is within the optimum range, that is not detrimental. That is healthy. One remains healthy, one remains activity prone when it is within the optimum range. This is what has been experimentally proved repeatedly. Right from the Seele's time, when Hans Seele was a physiologist, he worked, his major work came in 1954. And he is the person who adopted this word, stress. He took it from physics. That's why Udhbhavana master is our physics expert.
Force per unit area.
Eh?
Force per unit area. That is called stress. F upon A.
So here it is more in psychological terms. That is where that's how this term came. Hans Seele is the person who did many experiments. Since he was a physiologist, so many experiments were conducted. And he used this term, introduced this term, stress. In fact, he would use two terms, both from physics, stress and strain. But then
Yes.
ultimately, over the period of time, stress became more popular and more accepted universally. So yes, optimum range of stress is necessary for all that we do in the normal state of life.
So as far as workplace point of view, is stress is connected to success?
Yes. Sir, your question is
So
for
if a
me,
person
yeah?
is taking more stress, then that means he
All
will be
questions are
more
for you. I
successful.
am not the presenter. You are the presenter.
No, sir, thank you. Thanks a lot for helping me or for making me, providing me more knowledge. I will always in need of your support. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As far as workplace stress is there, if someone is becoming more and more stressed, yes, definitely it will be responsible for the deteriorating work efficiency of the individual, whether it is up to the moderate level or lower to the moderate level. Again, the same sign and symptoms will be shown by the individual, by the worker, by the employee. If he or she is becoming hyper stressed or hypo stressed, feeling bored and feeling less pressure, reason maybe whatever reason will be there as far as the individual is concerned, but yes, it will be responsible for the productivity or will be responsible for.
Going back to Professor Guru Prasad's question, the people may respond differently. People may not respond to the same level of stress the same way, or same level of experience the same way. So reaction or say response to a stress varies from individual to individual. There are individual differences. That's why we talk about the range, within that range. So stress within optimum level will definitely facilitate a person to succeed. But at the same time, the latest research says success is not the destination. Latest research says success is not the destination because it is intermediary. It is intermediary in nature. Perhaps happiness is. Perhaps happiness is. Therefore, success after success must lead to happiness.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Nasrin, madam, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. One question I have got to you is that is this what sir has described? There is a stress and there is a distress, a good stress and a bad stress. So, is there any perfect demarcation between these two stresses that a person, when he is passing to the stress from the good stress to bad stress, do we have any scale or a demarcation which says that now this is the limit? If after beyond that, you will be under the stress because good stress is good for our performance
Yes.
as you said. So, is there any perfect demarcation between both of these? When we come to know that now we are under the stress and we are not under this, we are under the good stress.
Okay, as far as the, yes, there is demarcation. Your emotional reactions or physical reaction will show that particular aspect. You are experiencing good stress. If you are experiencing good stress, whether in your personal life or your professional life, your work efficiency will be high. As far as the interpersonal relations are there, it will be good. You will be more productive. If you are experiencing stress, you will be happy. So the stress can be seen by the reactions showed by the individual. So these are the certain things which are showing that you are experiencing good stress. If you are experiencing bad stress, that is distress, whether it is hyper stress or hypo stress, acute or other type of stress, then what type of emotional reaction will be shown by the person? Like we can say that he or she will be more anxious. He will not be able to perform whatever work is assigned to them. So there are various types of actions So by the actions of the individual, the demarcation of both the types of stress can be done, or we are also having various standardized scales for measuring the level of stress. If simple term, if I say that this is the demarcation on which will be shown by the emotional reaction or reaction shown by the person who is experiences, whether it is good experience or bad experience, that is eustress or distress. Hope I
Yeah.
have given the satisfactory answer.
Yes, 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 definitely.
Thank you, sir.
So exact answer is the same what she said in the part 2. Your question is basically focused at measurement. Can it
Yeah.
be measured? Can it be assessed?
Yeah, yeah.
Answer is yes.
Stand.
So there are standardized tests available. By using these tests, by administering these psychological tests, we can assess where does a person stand, whether he is in the state of hypostress or hyperstress or an optimum range, where does it? So yeah, we have to remember individual reactions vary. It is
Yes,
not
sir.
same. So therefore, don't use the word perfect, because in psychological measurement, we won't say
Yes, sir.
because it
Yes,
varies.
sir.
See, if I have to measure a desk, I can say perfect. Anybody may measure it, he will come out with the same length.
Yes, sir. Emotional
Whereas that doesn't
reactions.
happen in the case of stress or any psychological variable as such. Therefore, here we won't use the word perfect. But the question is it possible to assess the stress? Answer is yes. Standardized, scientifically developed measures are available in the market, which can be used to assess the state of the level of stress.
Yes, sir. We are having a scale that is anxiety, stress, and depression scale. So it will make the demarcation of both the three types of reactions or terms we are using. So measurement scales are there.
Preeti, ma'am.
Any more questions, or shall I end the session? So as we come to the end, I would like to request Professor Bhavesh Joshi to propose words of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. As we come to the closer of Udhbhavana 2022-23 session 4th, it's my privilege to propose words of thanks on the behalf of organizing team to all those who helped us in making this session such a resounding success. Firstly, I want to express my gratitude to our speaker of the day, Dr. Nasreen Ansari, for kindly accepting our invitation and gracing the event with her valuable and important sharing. Thank you so much, ma'am. I am very grateful to Dr. Upinder Dhar sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, who gave the opportunity to organize this session and providing us with all the possible supports towards conducting the event. Thank you, sir. No event can take shape without hard-working leader. It was the dedication and enthusiasm of Udhbhavana coordinator, Dr. Uttam Sharma, who made this event possible in online mode. I express my heartfelt gratitude towards him for his enormous cooperation and organization of Udhbhavana 2022-23. I acknowledge and thanks the unwavering support received from all the faculty and staff members. And last but not the least, thank you all the participants for being with us, for the participating actively in the session. We are looking forward for your future participation. I once again thanks everyone whose contribution has made this session a successful one. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you all once
Thank
again for joining.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
ठीक है.